my name is Allison and I am in Menominee and Navajo. I work at Hennepin County Library as a community liaison out of the Franklin branch. One thing that a lot of people don't know is Minnesota is the traditional homelands of the Dakota people. Today I'm going to go ahead and read a Dakota book called Tekoja Walks with the Blue Moon Girl. It's written by Tara Perrone and illustrated by Alicia Schwab and published by Black Bears and Blueberries. One thing we're going to do to begin is make our heart. And this is how you start, by rubbing your hands together. Raising your fingers up, curving your fingers down, and that is how you make your heart. So you'll need to remember that when you hear the word heart in this book. Close your eyes and open your heart as we ride the wind through the cottonwood trees. Then we will flow with the river down to the Bluestone Village. That is where the story of our family begins. In the village there lives a little Tekoja grandchild. She is very curious and walks with a good heart. Her family calls her by her Dakota name, Walks with the Blue Moon Girl. Her Kunchi grandmother calls her Tekoja. Tekoja enjoys spending time with her Kunchi. She learns new and exciting things every day. She loves learning about the earth and all of its treasures, how the seasons come and go, each one having its own gift to share. Winter is when Kunchi sews her beautiful star quilts. In the winter, Kunchi often hangs her lanterns at all 4 directions to honor the north, south, east, and west. Then together they fill the kettle with water and make cedar tea and feast on bread with maple syrup. With the approach of winter, Tekoja would stare out the window to catch the first glimpse of snow. Then her Kunchi would start with her teachings of storytelling. Is it time? Tell me the story again, Kunchi, so I will remember forever, Tekoja would say. Kunchi replied, Tekoja, it's time. Go get your quilt and crawl into bed. Kunchi would tell Tekoja stories of how the rabbit got his long ears or why the wolf howled at the moon. These stories were an important part of Dakota culture. Tekoja cherished these stories. She also cherished the voice and ways of her Kunchi. She secretly admired her Kunchi's long, white, braided hair and the lines that hugged her soft smile. These were some of her favorite moments. Deep inside, Tekoja knew they would last forever. When her Kunchi shared the stories, her eyes were never cast down. They would stare into the heart of Tekoja's spirit. That is why Tekoja loves winters. When the white snow began to melt away, Tekoja knew winter had dances last good dance, inviting in the maiden of spring to come and create. Tekoja was ready to dance and play with all the surprises Lady Spring had to share. She could hardly wait for the Tawahi feast to begin in the garden. Many years ago, Grandfather had built Kunchi a growing space of her very own. That was a magical place. Tekoja felt it every time her little feet would enter the gate to the garden. That piece of earth would make her bare feet dance, jingle, and fancy at the same time. Kunchi called her garden sacred for Topa Wakan. Kunchi always enjoyed the seeding time of year. All the families in the village would gather at Kunchi's garden to seed. They would all eat and laugh together as one big family. Tekoja loved to laugh. She loved to run and play too, but she especially loved to laugh. There were raspberries and blackberries in a corner of the garden. Tekoja would whisper to Kunchi, Kunchi, are the berries ready yet? Can I try them? Tekoja, the berries are almost here. Yes, you can try them, Kunchi whispered. Tekoja, you must realize all great things grow with time. These seeds are sacred, like you, Tekoja. We must honor them in a good way. Kunchi unfolded a piece of cloth and bent down to show Tekoja a bunch of tiny seeds. You see, Tekoja, everyone must pray over these seeds because, like you, they need a lot of love to grow. Like me, I'm not a seed, Kunchi. I am a little hungry girl, exclaimed Tekoja. Yes, you are, Tekoja, but you are also a sacred seed in our family's garden. You were born into the world from the drum of your mother's heartbeat, made up of all the love and strength of the ancestors before you. Like all young seeds, you are carried by many hearts and drums, said Kunchi softly. Right then, Kunchi dug a small hole and sprinkled some seeds into the earth, and then gently covered them. Look, granddaughter, we can't see the seeds growing inside the earth, just like when you were growing inside of your mother's belly. Yet we know in our hearts something so special is being created. Then what happens, Kunchi? Asked Takosha with a curious eyes. When Tate whispers to the trees, they carry that prayer into their roots, inside grandmother's earth. That is what creates the love inside each and every seed. Wow, Kunchi, I must have been made with a lot of love, because look at how big I am. I just keep on growing bigger and bigger, Takosha said very proudly. Huh, Takosha, you see, everything Creator made is here to help you grow. That is why you're so big. All of the people sing and pray over you. All summer the village waits patiently to watch you grow, just like the seeds here in our garden. We all have our part. During the day, the sun grows you. At night, Takosha, moon sings you to sleep. This is why we have Tawahi, to help you get the water you need. They even help pull away the weeds to make more space for you to grow. So one day you'll produce good fruit that will feed all of your people, said Kunchi lovingly. Can I feed the animals and bees too? I do not want to feed those icky mosquitoes, but I will feed the bees, Takosha said with a slight grin. Ha, Takosha, you will nurture and feed all living things, just as all living things have fed you. This is the sacred circle. That is how it must be, especially now in this time. Our ways in sharing this love will revive all there is and ever will be, said Kunchi. Takosha looked up at her Kunchi, held out her tiny hand and smiled her biggest smile. Takosha understood. Her heart was her seed. It was strong and it had the power to love everything forever. It could create love to carry the universe in generations to come. She stood up and looked all around at the animals, the flowing river, flowers, and the trees too. Just then Kunchi softly placed a few seeds in Takosha's small hand. Takosha's heart was so full that her eyes began to swell up with love. She grabbed Kunchi so tight and kissed her fat cheeks. I love you, Kunchi. Thank you for helping my seed grow. I want to hear your stories forever. Can I keep you, Kunchi? Can I keep you forever? Come, Takosha, you can keep me forever, said Kunchi. Kunchi gently moved Takosha's hair away from her glowing face and told Takosha these words. Always make time to listen to your heart. It is forever growing and learning and teaching. Your heart is so big, and its drum song is a growing prayer. It teaches us to honor all things that came before us and pray for all things that will come after us. I will listen, Kunchi. I promise I will. Plus, you will always be here to remind me, right? Kunchi, she asked. Takosha, Kunchi replied, and placed her hand over Takosha's heart and said, I will always be right here. One day, however, my spirit will fill up with so much love it will become too big for this little body. On that day, your little ears will no longer hear my voice, because my voice and spirit will live inside of you. Then our hearts will become one, said Kunchi wisely. Takosha looked sad for a minute, then she felt very peaceful, because she knew her Kunchi love was strong enough to last forever. Kunchi leaned into Takosha and kissed her fat little cheek and asked, So, Takosha, are you ready to plant your seed now? At that moment, Tate danced through Takosha's hair as grandfather's son kissed her face. The garden seemed to be singing and dancing all around them. Takosha felt it living and growing with her. She knowingly placed her seeds upon the earth and replied, Han, Kunchi, Han,